The first time I played a survival game, I lasted 11 minutes. I mean, yeah. And then I was hooked for the next 200 hours. Today, we are covering the best survival games, from the most underrated hidden gems to the ones that literally built this entire genre. Nightingale, a Victorian fantasy survival game where you are stranded in a magical dimension called the Feywilds, and your only goal is to survive long enough to find your way back home. What makes this game unique is the realm card system. You craft cards that open portals to completely different biomes, different enemies, different resources every single time. The crafting is deep. We are not talking basic shelters here. You're building full Victorian estates and researching ancient Fey technology. Combat is not the main focus, but facing Fey creatures in this world, genuinely tense. And what I loved most, stepping through a portal not knowing what is waiting on the other side. That feeling never gets old.
I'd say that staying fed, dry, and rested should be your priority.
DayZ, one of the games that started the entire survival genre, and honestly, it still hits different. You are dropped into a massive open world called Trinaris. No objectives, no map markers, no hand-holding, just you and a world full of zombies and other players. And trust me, the other players are far more dangerous than the zombies. The map is huge. We are talking 225 square kilometers of cities, forests, military bases, and coastlines, all full of loot and all full of danger. The loot system is brutal. You will spend an hour gearing up, finding the perfect weapon, stacking up supplies, and then lose everything in one bad encounter. I remember one time I had the best gear I ever found in this game, felt completely untouchable, and then out of nowhere, one shot from a player I never even saw. Gone. All of it. Gone. And instead of rage quitting, I immediately started a new run. That is a DayZ effect. It punishes you hard and somehow keeps pulling you back for more. No other survival game creates that kind of raw, unpredictable tension. Ark Survived Evolved. Imagine waking up on a mysterious island with absolutely nothing, and then hearing a sound in the distance and makes your stomach drop. Because that sound is a dinosaur. Ark is a survival game where you gather resources and build shelters, but then a T-Rex walks past your base and suddenly everything feels completely different. The taming system is what makes Ark special. You can knock out almost any creature on the island, feed it, and eventually that creature becomes your companion. Riding pterodactyls across the sky, using a mammoth to farm resources, unleashing a pack of raptors on your enemies. I spent more hours than I am willing to admit building the perfect base, only for a rival tribe to raid it at 3 in the morning while I was asleep. That right there is the full Ark experience in one sentence. Subnautica. Most survival games want you to explore the land, but Subnautica sends you underwater. You crash land on an alien ocean planet, and your entire world is beneath the surface. Dark, deep, and full of creatures that make you question every decision you ever made. The further you dive down, the more beautiful the world gets, but also the more terrifying. You are building underwater bases, crafting submarines, managing oxygen, and slowly uncovering the mystery of why this planet is completely covered in water. And then, at some point, you will hear a sound from somewhere deep below you. Something big moving in the darkness, and your brain will immediately tell you, do not go down there. I went down there. I should not have gone down there. If you have never played Subnautica, you are genuinely missing one of the most unique survival experiences ever created. Don't Starve Together. Do not let the cute art style fool you, because this game will destroy you with a smile on its face. Don't Starve Together is a co-op survival game set in a dark, gothic world full of bizarre creatures, dangerous seasons, and the constant threat of, well, starving. You gather resources, build a base, cook food, and research new tech, but the world around you is always getting harder. Winter hits and your food runs out. Your sanity starts dropping and the monsters that only appear in the dark start appearing more. The sanity mechanic is what makes this game genuinely special. The longer you go without food, light, or comfort, the more your character starts losing their minds. And playing this with a friend? Absolute chaos. One person burns down the base accidentally, the other forgets to plant food, and somehow you both blame each other while a giant eyeball monster destroys everything you built. Green Hell. If Subnautica scared you underwater, Green Hell is gonna scare you on land. This is one of the most realistic survival games ever made, set deep in the Amazon rainforest, where literally everything around you is trying to kill you. We're talking about infected wounds, parasites living under your skin, food poisoning, psychological breakdowns. This game does not just simulate survival, it simulates suffering. The body inspection mechanic is something else entirely. You physically look at your own arms and legs for wounds, pull out leeches, treat infections, and if you ignore it, you will die. I remember my first hour in Green Hell. Thought I was doing great, had a fire going, found some food. Turns out the food was poisonous. Spent the next 20 minutes crawling on the ground. Genuinely one of the most immersive survival experiences on this entire list. Valheim. Most survival games make you feel like a victim. Valheim makes you feel like a legend. You are a Viking warrior sent to Odin's 10th realm, a massive, mysterious world full of dark forests, frozen mountains, and ancient creatures that have been waiting for someone brave enough to challenge them. The world is stunning. Low-poly art style that somehow looks more atmospheric than games with realistic graphics. And the further you explore, the more dangerous and rewarding it gets. What separates Valheim from everything else is how it handles progression. Every boss you defeat unlocks new materials, new biomes, and new crafting recipes. It always feels like you are moving forward. Playing this with friends at night, torches lit, sailing across a dark ocean not knowing what is on the other side, that is the kind of memory that sticks with you long after you close the game. The Long Dark. No zombies, no monsters, no enemies with health bars, just you, a frozen Canadian wilderness, and the very real possibility that today might be your last day. A geomagnetic disaster has wiped out all technology, and you are a crashed pilot trying to stay alive in one of the harshest environments on the planet. You are managing body temperature, calories, hydration, and fatigue all at the same time, and the blizzard can hit out of nowhere. Visibility drops to zero, and suddenly finding shelter becomes the only thing that matters. The wolf encounters in this game genuinely gave me anxiety. You never feel safe outside, even in bright daylight. And the silence of this game, no music, no constant action, just wind, snow, and your own footsteps. 7 Days to Die. Most survival games let you take your time, settle in, build at your own pace. 7 Days to Die give you 7 days. That is it. Every 7th night, a massive horde of zombies called the Blood Moon descends on your base and tries to tear it apart brick by brick. So every single day becomes a mission. Gather materials, reinforce your walls, set up traps, stockpile ammo. Because when that 7th night comes and the sky turns red, nothing you built is guaranteed to survive. I spent an entire week building what I thought was an unbreakable fortress. Blood Moon hit, it lasted about 4 minutes. The combination of survival, base building, and tower defense in this game is unlike anything else in the genre. And once that Blood Moon clock starts ticking, you will not be able to put it down. No Man's Sky. What if survival was not just limited to one planet? What if you had an entire universe to explore? No Man's Sky is a space survival game where you crash land on a random planet, repair your ship, and then the whole galaxy opens up to you. We are talking about billions of procedurally generated planets, each with different atmospheres, creatures, resources, and dangers. Some planets are paradise. Some planets will kill you in 30 seconds without the right gear. You are managing your suit power, life support, ship fuel, and resources, all while uncovering the mystery of what this universe actually is. What blew me away was landing on a planet I had never seen before, stepping out of my ship, and just standing there looking at 2 moons rising over an alien ocean. No game has ever made me feel that small, and that free at the same time. Raft. You wake up on a tiny wooden raft floating in the middle of an endless ocean. No land in sight, no food, no shelter, just a hook. That hook is literally your only tool at the start, and you use it to pull floating debris from the water, wood, plastic, scraps, anything the ocean throws your way. And slowly, that tiny raft becomes something bigger. You add floors, walls, a kitchen, a research table, and before you know it, you have built an entire floating base sailing across the ocean. But the ocean is not empty. A shark is constantly circling underneath you, waiting for the moment you fall in. What makes raft generally addictive is that feeling of watching your raft grow from a single platform into something you are actually proud of. I played this with a friend and we spent 3 hours just arguing about where to put the kitchen. Best 3 hours I have spent in a survival game. Sons of the Forest. You are sent to a remote island to find a missing billionaire. What you find instead is something far worse. Sons of the Forest is a survival horror game where the forest around you is alive, full of mutated cannibals that are watching you, learning your patterns, and attacking when you least expect it. The AI in this game is genuinely unsettling. Enemies remember where you built your base. They come back in bigger groups. They bring weapons. And the deeper you go into the caves on this island, the worse things get. Building your base actually matters here because you are constantly defending it. Logs, traps, electric fences, all of it gets tested regularly. You also have a companion called Kelvin, who is deaf and mute, and somehow becomes the most important character in the entire game. If you are someone who likes their survival games with a side of genuine horror, Sons of the Forest will not disappoint you. Conan Exiles. Most survival games give you a humble beginning. Conan Exiles gives you a crucifixion. You start the game literally nailed to a cross in the middle of a scorching desert, left to die, until the legendary Conan himself cuts you down and gives you a second chance at life. The building system in this game is one of the best in the genre. You are not just slapping walls together, you are constructing actual castles with towers, dungeons, and throne rooms. The combat is also weightier than most survival games. Every fight feels like it has real consequences. I once spent an entire evening building what I thought was the most impressive fortress on the server. Logged in the next morning, another player had turned it into a parking lot. That is Conan Exiles for you. Pal World. Someone at a game studio once asked, what if Pokemon, but with guns? And somehow that became one of the biggest games of 2024. Pal World is a survival crafting game where you capture creatures called pals. And these pals are not just companions, they work for you. They mine resources, they farm your food, they man your assembly lines. And when things get dangerous, they fight by your side. The survival mechanics are genuinely solid. Base building, crafting, resource management, all of it feels well designed. But the moment you ride a giant fire pal into battle while your base runs itself in the background, you realize this game is doing something that no other survival game has ever done before. Pal World broke Steam records on launch day, and once you play it, you completely understand why. Enshrouded. Imagine a survival game where the entire world is covered in a mysterious toxic fog called the Shroud. And inside that fog, time moves faster, enemies hit harder, and your survival timer is constantly ticking down. That is the world of Enshrouded. You are one of the last surviving Flameborn, building your base on the edges of the Shroud and diving into it to gather the rarest resources and uncover the secrets of a fallen kingdom. The building system in this game is genuinely impressive. Voxel-based destruction and construction that lets you shape the world however you want. But what makes Enshrouded stand out is how it blends survival with a full RPG experience. Skill trees, character builds, boss fights. It does not feel like just a survival game. It feels like a world worth actually exploring. I went in expecting a basic survival crafting loop and ended up losing an entire weekend without even noticing.
In the fog, weakness is a feast for the mighty.
Scum. If you ever thought survival games were not realistic enough, Scum will fix that problem immediately. This is one of the most hardcore survival games ever made, set on a prison island where you are a convict competing in a brutal reality show for your freedom. And when I say hardcore, I mean hardcore. Your character has actual metabolism systems, vitamins, proteins, carbohydrates. You need to track all of it. Eat the wrong thing, your stomach reacts. Push your body too hard, your muscles give out. Get shot in the leg, you actually limp. The map is absolutely massive, filled with military bases, abandoned towns, and dense forests, all packed with loot and danger. What makes Scum genuinely different from every other survival game is that your body itself becomes part of the survival challenge. Most games ask you to survive the world. Scum asks you to survive your own body first. Once human. Post-apocalyptic survival games are everywhere, but Once Human does something that most of them simply do not. This is a free-to-play survival MMO set in a world where a mysterious substance called Stardust has mutated everything around you. Humans, animals, the environment itself. Nothing looks the way it used to, and nothing behaves the way it should. You are building bases, crafting weapons, hunting mutated creatures, and uncovering the mystery behind what actually happened to the world. The world design in this game is genuinely striking. Corrupted forests, twisted cities, bizarre creatures that look like nothing you have seen in any other survival game. What makes Once Human stand out is the sheer scale of it. This is a living world full of other players, events happening in real time, and the story that keeps expanding with every update. And the fact that it's completely free makes it one of the easiest recommendations on this entire list. State of Decay 2. Most zombie survival games put you at the center of everything. State of Decay 2 reminds you that survival was never just about one person. This is a zombie survival game where you manage an entire community of survivors, each with their own skills, personalities, fears, and relationships. You are making supply runs into dangerous zombie-infested areas, bringing back food, medicine, and weapons, and trying to keep everyone alive back at base. And here is what makes this game genuinely brutal. Every single survivor can die permanently. That character you spent 20 hours developing, the one with the perfect skills and the best weapons, one bad supply run, one moment of carelessness, and they are gone forever. It creates a kind of attachment to your survivors that no other zombie game manages to pull off, because losing them actually hurts. State of Decay 2 is not just about surviving the zombies. It is about surviving the weight of keeping everyone else alive. The Altars. What if the biggest threat to your survival was not the environment, was not the monsters, was not the cold or the hunger? What if the biggest threat was yourself? The Altars is a brand new survival game where you are Jan Dulski, a lone astronaut stranded on a planet being slowly consumed by a deadly sunrise. And you have to keep moving or you burn, but you cannot do it alone. So you create alternate versions of yourself based on different choices you made in your life. The Jan who became an engineer, the Jan who became a doctor, all of them living together on your base, working together, and sometimes not getting along. Managing a crew that is literally all you hits completely different. The most original survival concept in years. And if you're tired of the same old survival formula, this one will genuinely surprise you. And that is the list. From Victorian fantasy portals to alien ocean depths to managing alternate versions of yourself on a dying planet. The survival genre right now is in its best era ever, and every single game on this list is worth your time. Now I want to know, which game are you jumping into first? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you are new here, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Until next time, stay alive out there.